bitching and moaning about coaches, about general managers. They don't coach me right. I don't like how I'm being coached. We're not building a culture. Players need to shut the living hell up, particularly in the NFL. Go to work, make your team better. Don't at me starts right now. Hey, good morning. It's another beautiful day here in Indy. You know, players, starting with Justin Fields last week, started talking about coaching. That's right, coaching. Well, I'm not being coached right. I'm not allowed to be myself. Yeah, that's a bunch of crap. Now, I will say this. Fields is Coach Fluss, as the idiots here in Indianapolis call him. Couldn't coach blind turkeys to take a dump. That's my favorite saying. But I got to tell you, it's time for players to shut the living hell up. No, it seriously just is. Look, coaches are paid to coach. Players are paid to play. Now, the idiots among us are going to say, well, see, I knew Dakich was racist. He's telling people shut up and play. Well, when it comes to your team, I don't care what you do about social justice, social media. I don't care about any of that. Advertise who you want to advertise for. I don't care. But I got to tell you, when players suddenly are now the coach or players suddenly are now the GM, it's starting to give me gas. You know, just shut the living hell up. Look, your high school GED diploma and 2 years at Fresno State doesn't make you qualified to be anything other than what you are, a football player. Yeah, I don't want to hear about how the culture is bad. And Davante Adams talked about this. He's the one that really got me going. First, it was Justin Fields. Justin Fields came out when asked coaching. They're giving me too much. What Justin Fields was saying was that I'm too stupid to be quarterback at this point in my NFL career. I'm too dumb. Yeah, I can't handle it. The morons that are coaching me are giving me too much. I'm processing. I'm thinking too much. It's a common ploy by players. Players always go to two things. Now, I'm just mostly talking about college. This is too confusing, man. I'm not able to play my game, or I'm not having fun. Those are the two things that players go to. It's not fun anymore. Well, no, Sherlock. Yeah, really? No kidding. No, I'm shocked by that. It's no fun. Really, you're getting your head bashed in, but you're making millions of dollars. And then the other thing is, man, I'm not out there doing my thing. Yeah, shut up. Your thing wasn't that great anyway. Your thing hadn't been great. How about you grow as a coach? Part of growing as a quarterback is developing the ability to process things, the ability to make the game, what do we always hear? Slow down. All right, let's hear from Davante Adams. So Davante Adams, he's frustrated. He's playing in a bad program. He left, thought he was going to go play with his college teammate at Fresno State, by the way, and he goes out and plays for the world's most punchable face, Josh McDaniels. Here's Davante Adams doing anything but being a player.
Don't act like it's all crazy. It's week 3, but I don't got time to wait around. I mean, it's not a personal thing. I mean, it is a personal thing, but it ain't just about me. But I mean, it's not my mentality to sit here and try to take all season to figure it out. You use these early games like this to establish our identity, and we're not doing things the right way to establish a winning culture early in the season. So we got to do something to turn that around. Doing something about it so that when we go out there the next time, it looks different. It's not supposed to just be a week of just talking about it. We got to go out there and do it. That's the theme of this year is doing it, not just talking about it and figuring out what we need to do. We did all that last year. This year we got to be about it.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie to you. I can't take him seriously with that hairdo. I know we're supposed to. I know we're all supposed to. I know his styles are that, but I can't. I'm sorry. Well, you're racist. Yeah, whatever you want to call me, I don't care. I couldn't take a white dude seriously with the old Marge Simpson beehive hairdo. I'm sorry. We're not doing what we want to. You can tell he's not a real guy. I can tell it in the eyes. So, so he's mad. There's no winning culture. There's nothing, blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? I can tell him, I can look at him and say, yeah, he's not a real one. He's a good player. But that hairdo, those eyes, yeah, he's not a real one. I tell you who was a real one, Joe Willie Namath. That's right, Joe Willie Namath. Joe Willie Namath went scorched earth on the fraud that is Robert Saleh. Now, I've told you about Robert Saleh from watching Hard Knocks. Robert Saleh, again, say it with me, can't coach blind turkeys to take a dump. Anyway, so Robert Saleh had this to say after watching Zach Wilson, he of the hot mother, but the bad throwing, and he's paid to throw, not having hot mother. That was just genetics. Here's what Robert Saleh's sorry ass had to say after the Jets debacle.
Robert, do you guys plan to add another quarterback here in the coming days? And if so, what caliber of quarterback are you looking to add, and what will his role be?
Yeah, we are going to look through some things, but I do want to make it very clear. Zach's our quarterback. We got a lot of faith in Zach. We're really excited about his opportunity, but we're rolling with Zach and excited for this, excited for him, and like I said, this opportunity that he's going to get.
Yeah, you know what? Robert Saleh is a fraud. Robert Saleh should have stayed as a defensive coordinator. Robert Saleh is one of those guys that when he talks to a team, I've never understood this. When he talks to a team, he reads it off a prompter. He reads it off a teleprompter. Now, nobody in the media is going to say anything about that, but if you're a coach and you got to read your notes off of a teleprompter, you suck. You're not a real one. Coaching is about teaching, and if you need to teach off of a teleprompter, number one, then you're not a very good teacher. Number two, coaching is about passion. Coaching is about emotion, and if you have to read off of a teleprompter, then you don't have that emotion. You don't have that fire. I'll tell you who does have that emotion and who does have that fire. And at one point on our show, we were supposed to have him on. I don't know what happened, but Joe Willie Namath, one of the all-time legends. When you think about the NFL, Joe Willie Namath might be the all-time legend because he brought the AFC, AFL, and the NFL together by predicting that the AFL, basically the sister league to the NFL, was going to win the Super Bowl when he was the quarterback. Let's hear from the New York Jets legend, Joe Willie Namath.
I wouldn't keep him. I've seen enough of Zach Wilson, all right? I've seen enough. Has quick feet, can throw a little bit, but I don't believe what's going on up there. How can a coach say the locker room's together? How many teams have we been on? Are you telling me there aren't some cats on the defensive side saying, whoa, man, what's wrong with you? Yeah, there's not all harmony in the locker room. And if there is, they need to get rid of the people. You got to get people in there that are competitors and want to fight to win. These guys don't have to be in love with each other. And if they're saying they're in love with each other, they're BSing you. And you got to get rid of them, top to bottom.
I say it all the time. Who gives a rat's ass about these guys loving each other? I didn't love anybody. I liked my teammates. They were nice guys, had great chemistry. My high school teammates were some of my best friends, but I didn't love on them. I wanted to drop 30. And then in college, I just wanted to get on the court. Honest to God, Joe Namath is absolutely right. These guys love each other, man. They play for each other. They love on each other. Oh, my ass. Leo, love each other. Yeah, how's that working out for Indiana football? How about get really good players in there that are tough? That comment, Indiana football has a saying, hashtag LEO. Love each other. All right. Look, I couldn't stand a kid named Stu Robinson when I played with him. I had no respect for a couple other guys, but we got to the Elite Eight with a bunch of guys that were injured and guys like me playing. So what the hell? Won a Big Ten title. I don't know what to tell you. The whole love each other thing is full of crap and good for Joe Namath. Well, Dan, you don't understand. I know I don't understand. You're right. I don't. Because what I understand is good players being coached hard, held accountable, and going out and winning. But you better have good players. That's one thing I learned. I thought I could coach anybody, and then all my players got hurt 7 of my 10 years at Bowling Green. I lost my 2 best. 5 of the 10, I lost my 3 best. But it didn't matter. I thought I could go out and coach pasty little white kids from Alaska as walk-ons and win games. Turns out you got to have really good players. That's why I'll always tell you, you better have good players. And Zach Wilson is not a good player. And if you're in the NFL and you don't have good players, I don't give a damn what the coach gets up there and says. I don't give a damn about loving each other. You ain't winning. You ain't winning. And the Joe Willie Namath could not be more right. Isn't it amazing how far the Jets have fallen in such a short time? And one guy. If you were going to say right now the most valuable player in the NFL, you got to look at Aaron Rodgers. I mean, Aaron Rodgers not being there has destroyed not only a team, but it's destroyed a city. It's destroyed the whole thing. It's incredible to me. Just because Aaron Rodgers is out and this guy is in, and then I hear about this guy's confidence. Let me explain something to you. Confidence is very important. But if you're a professional athlete, one of the ways you get confident is you go out and work your brains out. You go work harder. You don't worry about a little headband that you're wearing or looking like somebody that you're not. Go out there and be a tough guy. If I were Zach Wilson's mother, I would tell him, shave your day, or father, I guess. He played football, I think. I would tell him, shave your damn head. Shave your damn head, get rid of that little pussy-ass headband, and go fight for your professional life. That's what I'd tell. Hey, look, it works. Just telling you. Speaking of idiots, how about this? Remember yesterday we talked about this guy, C.J. Jackson, cornerback for the San Diego Chargers. There's always a backstory. I tell you all the time, there's always, not sometimes, always a backstory. And C.J. Jackson being a healthy scratch, well, here's the backstory. Apparently there's a warrant out for this clown's arrest because he's driving like an idiot all over the place. Doesn't pay his tickets. He's got a I don't know all the stuff. I'm sure there's more. But C.J. Jackson, 4 years, $82 million. I'm sorry, $82.5 million. You should never forget the 0.5 because the 0.5 is $500,000. A warrant has been issued for the arrest of C.J. Jackson for violating his probation. He was supposed to appear in court for a probation violation stemming from arrest on criminal speeding. So this idiot, like most idiots that don't know how to handle fame, speeds. Okay, fine, we've all sped. Criminal speeding, problem, gets probation. Screw it, I don't have to be on probation. Man, I'm C.J. Jackson. Who? I'm cornerback for the San Diego, Los Angeles Chargers. Who? I just signed big money. Who? I got a big house. Who? I'm telling you, man, it's every day. It's like NFL players are a menace to society. Like a former player doing that, a former player doing that, a former player raping, robbing, stealing, killing his mother allegedly. I don't know. Former NFL players are a pox on our society. It's incredible. Holy nutsack. I'm C.J. Jackson. Yeah? I'm Dan Dakich. What do you want me to do? Oh, man, I'm telling you, they are a pox on our society. It's almost to the point where, and I don't advocate this, but we're going to have to let NFL players, I don't know. Don't let them out. Stop playing in the NFL, because if it's CTE or if it's something, man. Whoo. C.J. Jackson. Don't you know who I am? I'm C.J. Jackson. Shut the living hell up. All right. Speaking of shut the living hell up, Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes are using their flex. They're using their muscle. They're using their status. They're using their championships, and I'm here for it. They're saying that their left tackle, Juwan Taylor, is being picked on by the refs. Now, this is akin, if you remember going back, to Pat Riley. Pat Riley and Phil Jackson used to go back and forth. Pat Riley and Van Gundy, all these guys used to go back and forth, going at it. The refs are screwing us. The refs are screwing them. The refs aren't calling this. The refs aren't calling that. And they could because it was interesting. We had interest in those guys. Well, here's the deal. Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid have the most suck in the league, meaning they have the most power right now. I watch a lot of tape, and he's no deeper than any other tackle in the league. What they're saying is their tackle, Juwan Taylor, is backed off the line, and you're getting flagged. And it's a new technique by tackles in the NFL. It gives them a little bit of a head start against the uber-athletic Micah Parsons of the world. There's other guys that are even further back than he is. It's crazy to see. Hopefully, it kind of calms down as the season goes on. But, I mean, he's making adjustments. And it seems like even with his adjustments, they're not good enough, I guess. Well, I don't know. I don't really know. What I do know is hey, you better adjust more. I checked out all the looks. Our right tackle got called on today, and I'm seeing it both sides of the ball. I'm seeing it with our left tackle. Might be being picked on just a little bit here. Yeah, I don't know. But I know this. Take it for a spin, man. Take it for a spin. Hey, Patrick Mahomes is the true good guy of sports. Andy Reid has resurrected his career. Nobody even talks about the failures of Andy Reid. Now they just talk about what a great coach he is. Good for him. He's in commercials. He's doing things. God bless him. I think we got one more here. Do we have one more from Sports Radio 810? 810 not happy. Is that an audio we got? Let's see.
Chance to look at it. I'd even double down more on what I said yesterday. I mean, I just think, they've got an eye on him, and they better keep an eye on everybody else too, because it's to the point of being ridiculous. They got their point proved now out there to the world. So let's make sure we're staying consistent.
That's all you want as a coach, right? Isn't that what all the media writers say? That's all you want is consistency. Well, in this case, you kind of do. In this case, if your left tackle is lining up in the same space that other left tackles are, or your right tackle doing the same, you just want the umpire, the referee, whoever the hell's making the call, to say, hey, this is where we're lining up. If you line up back from this, we are going to call a penalty. Line up here. That seems to be a simple way. Communication is the key in life, children. Talk to your wife. Talk to your husband. Talk to your children. Talk to your referee. How about that? Rex Ryan not happy. Rex Ryan's not happy, and every time Rex Ryan talks about someone's defense, it sounds like he wants to go back into the NFL. Rex Ryan, who I really like, was a terrific defensive coach in the NFL, and he was a terrific interview when he was the head coach of the Jets. But Rex Ryan has taken issue with a pathetic defense of the Denver Broncos. And I would argue the Cincinnati Bengals defense is the softest defense in the NFL, but I'm going to get to Monday Night Football coming up in a minute. Rex Ryan is saying this. Rex Ryan, well, let's hear from Rex Ryan. He can tell you himself.
But on the other side of it, that's the worst defense. I've only been on the planet for 60 years, never seen anything that bad.
When you watch this defense, it goes to institutional control, which is the head coach's job, right? It's let's not worry about how many babies Russell Wilson kisses. Yeah. Let's not worry about his public persona and how he plays. Let's not worry about being the Fox analyst and coming back out and talking about what Nathaniel Hackett did. Right. I said it at that time. Talk about what we're going to do. Talk about how we are going to get better. And we, for a head coach, is offense. It's special teams. It's defense. Sean Payton was worried about all of the wrong things in the offseason, and we gave him a pass because he'd won a Super Bowl. We gave him a pass because we felt like he was a good coach and had proven everything he needed to prove during his tenure in New Orleans. They're getting worse.
Who was that? Was that Ryan Clark? Why is he talking? It's always the white coach's fault. Now, seriously, it's not the player's fault. It's the coach's fault. Because one time at a press conference, the coach actually said, hey, look, guys, this is a poorly coached team, and Russell Wilson needs to focus on being a coach. It's always the white coach's fault with these guys. It really is. It's not the player. It can't be the players. It's institutional. Really? Sean Payton's been there 10 minutes. He's cleaning up a mess, but it's institutional. Hey, let me give you a little something, racist guys on ESPN. Let me give you a little something. The players play. I hear it all the time. The players play. Can you guys tell, was that Ryan Clark? The players play. That's what they do. They play, no? But it's on the coach because the coach talked about Russell Wilson, an African-American quarterback. That's the problem. That's the problem. Okay. It's always the white coach with Ryan Clark. And it always will be. Has nothing to do with the African-American players that can't play dead and are getting paid. Nothing to do with that. It's the white coach. Talking about Russell Wilson. It always is now. And I'm here to tell you, those players stink. You can have Vince Lombardi. You can have Tony Dungy. Let me give you a couple more black coaches. You can have Eddie Robinson. You can have anybody you want coaching those sorry-ass players. And those sorry-ass players can't play dead. And they got no pride in Denver. Don't even try it. It's another African-American guy on TV criticizing a white coach when the white coach just said this. Hey, Russell Wilson, get serious about your crap. Quit being a politician. And everybody in the league knows Russell Wilson's a politician. I see through this crap. They're full of shit, is what Ryan Clark is. The players suck. Speaking of players, let's talk Monday Night Football last night. I won a lot of money last night for one reason, because I bet the Bengals on the money line. I wasn't giving points, I wasn't messing with points. Here's the deal, and Joe Burrow said this after the game. Injury, my backside. Injury didn't matter. We couldn't go 0-3. I text my buddy Tom Jolly that exact thing. Tommy J calls me, he goes, hey, or he texts me, he goes, hey, what do you think tonight? I go, the only thing I'm betting is the Cincinnati Bengals because they can't go 0-3. He goes, well, I can show you the text exchange. Good enough for me. And we both got our toes tapping. We both made money, and away we go. That's a big deal. We talked about it yesterday. 2.4%. That's it. 2.4% is the amount of money, or the percentage of teams that go to the playoffs in the NFL that start 0-3. 2.4. Last one, 2018, the Tennessee Titans. That's the last one. Ladies and gentlemen, I submit to you, let me make sure that's right. 2018 Texans, last team to start 0-3. See, I got notes here. I'm not just winging it. Well, anyway, Joe Burrow and his team got it done, but I got to tell you, I was reading a new book, a David Baldacci novel, and I had the game on, but I turned the sound down. Lee was finishing up a book. We were having a nice sit. We had worked out like crazy. We had done a bunch of stuff around the house, and it came time to just have a nice sit. I got in my space. She got in her space. I turned the volume down, put my cheaters on, and did some reading. And I'm looking up, and when you don't have the sound on, and I recommend this for anybody, particularly in college basketball season, turn the sound down and watch the game. My God, do the Cincinnati Bengals play like little batches in the defensive backfield. They hit nobody. Holy hell. When you don't have the sound on and you don't hear the crowd noise and you don't hear the announcers, you just watch the game. Football is so soft. Guys running out of bounds. Hi, I'm going to push you out. You know, it became so annoying to me. I hate to use a 16-year-old teenage girl word. It's so annoying. But anyway, it became so annoying to me that I almost started rooting against the team I had bet on. And that never happens. I care about one team, two teams, Indiana softball, Illinois State basketball. Other than that, I don't care. But the truth of the matter is I almost started rooting against the team because they were so freaking soft. So good for the Bengals. You got it done. Let me ask you a question. Look at me. Stop what you're doing and look at me. Based on being called racist for rooting for Oregon and being happy that Oregon beat the hell out of the little kids, and that's what they are, of Colorado football. Was it racist for you to root for Baker Mayfield and Tampa Bay? Baker, a white quarterback. Jalen Hurts, a black quarterback. Are you racist because you were rooting for Tampa Bay? I don't know. I'm just basing it on what happened post Deion Sanders and his little kids getting their ass beat. Now, I ask you, is it racist? I don't think it is, but the world that we live in seems like it is, and that's sad. But I'll argue this. Jalen Hurts and the Eagles are going to have games like that. Everybody thinks that Jalen Hurts is one of those guys that's going to win by 20. No, their team just figures out ways to win. They just do. And in figuring out ways to win, guess what? Sometimes you're going to win 25-11. What does that mean? Defense, great. Other team screws up. Just enough on offense. It happens in the NFL. It just does. And I got to tell you something else. Going back to the Cincinnati game, when you have the volume off, when they showed Joe Mixon's touchdown run, it was unbelievable. Joe Mixon ran for about 20 yards for a touchdown. And when they showed it and they stopped it, Joe Mixon literally could see a big batch of white backsides. Like there was nothing there. And next thing you know, he read it, and somehow, some way, watch the play. It's amazing. He goes about 20 yards for a touchdown, untouched. And when they paused it, man, he's got nowhere to go. And next thing you know, a hole opened up about this wide. He jumped through it, jumped this way, got a block. It was fantastic. It was freaking awesome. Holy banana smoke. I don't know, where did I say that? Holy banana smoke? I'm going to use that. I ain't mad about it. Anyway, Joe Mixon, nice cut. I hate to give him credit. OutKick on the YouTube chat is saying the Rams blew that game. Of course they did. The Rams are the better team. But maybe the NFL is fixed. Maybe it's not. I don't know. Was it a touchdown down the sideline or did a guy step out? I don't know. But I know this. Joey Ballgame is a mega star. Yeah, he is. And maybe, just maybe, the NFL wants him in the playoffs. 0-3. Not much the NFL can do at that point. 1-2. So you're saying there's a chance. Hey, yesterday we had some audio issues, so I had to go it along, which is fine. Chad Withrow was on. We couldn't hear him. You couldn't hear him. And we want you to hear him. Lou Holtz is going to join us. Lou Holtz is just being ripped. I got guys, I'm arguing with guys on OutKick because writers are saying Ryan Day shouldn't worry about Lou Holtz. Ryan Day didn't worry about Lou Holtz. Ryan Day is pissed about it. Defending his team, defending his program. I coached a long time. Coached with a couple decent coaches. Bobby Knight, Calvin Sampson. Coached against a bunch, studied a bunch. I ain't never not seen some coach worried about a media comment. Pissed, and after the game, in the press conference, you think you're bulletproof when you have a win like that, so you're taking your shots, and that's all Day did. And good for him. I'm trying to get Ryan Day on our show. I'm working hard for you people. Be right back. Chad Withrow next.
What does it say to you when there's these business owners who don't understand your vision of what you have for these places? I mean, you're giving them publicity at the end of the day. Even if you're not giving them the best review on the board, you're still putting their name out there on a platform that allows millions of people to realize their business when otherwise they probably would have just remained, a smaller business.
Yeah, he's a moron. It had nothing to do with how I was ranking the pizza. And he said that. He said a million things, like he doesn't want publicity. He keeps talking about it, but he just hated me. He didn't really know who I was. I'm sure it's the way his politics are, because if you go look at his feed, it's what I'd expect. It's extreme left, and those are the types of people who generally hate me before they meet me. But he said he wanted to yell at me before I even stepped in the store, so it had nothing to do with the review. And he's a clown show. He is one of the worst people. He's everything that is wrong with this country, and that's not exaggerating. But he's made up his mind before he meets somebody, picks a fight, and then the rest is history. But for me, it's good. It was the most viral thing we've had in a long time.
Yeah. And have you had any other pizza owners from places you covered in the past reach out to you and say, wow, we can't believe this guy? Like, look at the great things that you've done for our business because of the One Bite Pizza review.
Yeah. That's the thing that's crazy. There's a lot of things that people could cherry pick that people have said about me that be like, oh, he's a bad guy, this and that. Pizza and small business is not one of them. That pretty uniformly across the board. People like Dave, very good for pizza. He's very good for small business. It's how we're doing this pizza fest. Like, we get places that would never do it, but it's like, we like I did an interview with Lucali, which is one of the most famous pizza places there is. And they're asking Mark, the owners, like, why'd you agree? We don't see Lucali doing this type of thing. It's like, Dave has done so much good for the pizza industry. This guy didn't care. This guy had no answers. He was just a clown.
We tried him. It didn't work yesterday, but it's going to work today. The great Chad Withrow. You hear him, you know him, you love him, you see him on Hot Mic afternoons right here on all of your OutKick outlets. All right, let me get to something real quick. Last night I bet, and I didn't bet anything. I bet the Cincinnati Bengals because if you go 0-3, there's a 2.4 chance of getting into the playoffs. Last team, Texans, 2018. I'm not saying the NFL's fixed. I'm not. But for some reason, I just knew they had to have Joe Burrow in there. Now, I don't know. My wife thinks everything's fixed, Chad. She thinks every sport except the one that she coached is fixed because nobody would care about fixing softball. What say you?
Yeah, it's funny because the one thing that, that your wife thinks that way, because the one thing the NFL and every sport cannot have are people questioning the integrity of the sport, right? It's kind of the do no harm type approach. It's the Hippocratic oath of sports. Everyone has to know that you're giving your best, you're trying your best to win the game, and that nothing is on the take. No one's on the take. No one's fixing the games. This is why all the NCAA gambling stuff with players is so important, and why you have to weed it out, why all the gambling issues with the NFL and the strict policy in place for a 6-game suspension, even if you happen to bet on a UFC fight on a team bus, and not on the NFL, because they can't have even the presence or the thought of any impropriety within the sport. I'll say this for the NFL so far this year, the officiating has been way worse. I know some veteran crews and some guys that retired, and they're bringing up some new officials. I think there's countless examples of the officiating being far worse in the NFL this year as opposed to previous years. Dan, I thought that he was going to sit. I thought the movement at quarterback throughout the day, I really started to think, man, if this thing goes to 0-3, I think they might put him on IR and sit him for a month and see if he can get right and almost kind of throw away the season at that point and just get Joe Burrow and that calf healthy again. But he played last night, didn't play all that well, but did good enough for the Bengals to win, and now they remain in the fight and don't fall to 0-3. So I think that you and your wife saying that and thinking that is the worst enemy of the NFL, because that's the last thing they want is anyone questioning the integrity of the game.
Yeah, and you know what? I don't, but that's why I bet it, though. I mean, I didn't bet it because I thought it was fixed. I just bet it because, well, frankly, he's not going 0-3. Maybe I was betting on Joe Burrow's toughness. I want to go to the officiating. I have a very good friend.
It all works out, Dan, real quick on that. Doesn't it always just work out for the NFL? Right? Like I bet on the Bengals before the season to win the Super Bowl. So that was long odds, but I'm thinking, they go to 0-3, there's no chance of that happening. And now they remain alive. So that's good news for me, but it's also good news for the box office. When one of your marquee idols and your top quarterbacks is relevant, it helps the league. So Cincinnati's win last night, I think, helped the league. It always works out for them. The NFL announces Usher as the halftime performer, and it's just a big old dud. No one really cares. There's not much excitement around it. But on that same day, Taylor Swift is in a suite at a Kansas City Chiefs game. So a bigger pop star is now somehow a part of the NFL. To me, that's the stuff that makes me think, man, maybe this stuff is written. Maybe it is scripted, because the NFL just always seems to win. Even when they have little losses, it comes back to a bigger victory. We saw that on Sunday.
I'm going to go with the NFL officiating. A very good friend. NFL official, long time. Took him 25 years of working to get to the NFL. Now guys are getting in 5 years, and people don't like hearing this, but he'll tell you every official, I ran into 2 this summer at different places, and they all say the same thing. Yeah, the NFL went with diversity. The NFL got rid of experience, got rid of guys that achieved, and gave into diversity. Now some guys are getting there with 5 years experience. And they all said, they go, look, you're going to see it. The NFL officiating will be worse this year. All 3 guys told me this. One of them was African-American, before people lose their minds. But they all said this: you will see the NFL officiating getting much worse this year, because the NFL got rid of experience, got rid of guys that have done it, got rid of really good officials, made them retire in the aim of being, quote, more diverse as opposed to better. And that's why you're seeing what you're seeing.
It's amazing too, because officiating is sort of an endangered species. I mean, I'm sure you see this across sports events in Indiana also, Dan, but in Tennessee, high school football games are being moved to Thursday nights. In some cases, Wednesday nights across the country, because they don't have enough football officials to call these games when everyone plays on a high school football Friday night. I coach my daughter's 8U softball team. Luckily, we have one girl who's probably in college or fresh out of college that umpires every single game for us. That's there every week. But it is hard for this league to find someone to come and umpire a game, a youth game. So to be, picky and say, well, we have to meet a quota or find this or that, I think that's a very odd approach, simply because it's hard to find people who want to do it. And it's even harder to find people who's really good at it. So it's got to be a complete meritocracy. If you are determined enough to be an official and want to be around the game that badly, then you need to be the top notch, the upper echelon in order to get a gig officiating in the NFL. And that should be the only criteria that needs to be met for someone to be an NFL official, because it's hard to find officials, period. Where are the young officials right now? Is there a minor league system for young officials that are going to be in this game that long? I think that's becoming harder and harder to find.
There used to be a great minor league system. You work your ass in high school for years, and you go and be a college official. Then you jump up to Division I, and then you get a call up to the NFL. One of my father's best friends did it, and now it's simply, hey, look, we need to fill quotas. Is there a guy at Division III that we could bring up and try to teach? And it's not going to change anytime soon. It's horrible. And it's affecting games, and the NFL doesn't care. I mean, look, as long as they can say, look how diverse we are, as long as our DEI score is good, they're all right. Let me go on the field here real quick in college. People have discarded Alabama. I don't know. Alabama had a nice win, a good win. You beat Lane Kiffin in Mississippi. Good. Is Alabama to be discarded, or are we seeing glimmers of hope out of Alabama?
No, I don't think they should be discarded at all. I think that defense is top notch. The crazy thing about that loss to Texas was it felt so different. We just don't – we've never seen a Nick Saban coach team at home look like that and get beat in that fashion. It was a 10-point loss, but it felt like 4 touchdowns. And that was the first ever double-digit loss for Nick Saban at home, which is an incredible stat considering he's been there since 2007. So everything felt different about it. There's something that felt very familiar about that ass kicking he put on Lane Kiffin on Saturday, quite frankly. That felt like a 2009, 2010 Alabama beatdown, where they just slowly suffocate the life out of you with a great rushing attack and really good defense and get after the quarterback. And that's what they did on Saturday. So I was impressed with that Alabama defense. Dan, I think you look at the SEC, this is definitely a down year for the conference. Outside of Georgia, who's going for the three-peat and has a very weak schedule, I look around that conference, I see a bunch of good, not great teams. I think LSU and Alabama have the best chance to maybe be on the low end of great this season, and they're going to battle it out for the SEC West. I think Texas A&M is still very talented, and they had a bad half at Miami, but they could factor in also. I look at the rest of the SEC East. Tennessee, South Carolina is going to be an interesting game. That's kind of one of those round-robin games this week. Florida beats Tennessee. It's a bunch of games that are going to happen where it's a coin toss. The teams are just good enough to go and win and beat a really good opponent, and they're also bad enough to get beat against someone they shouldn't lose to. That's most of the SEC this year, outside of Vanderbilt, who looks to be really bad, and then probably Georgia at the top end of that. I could say that for the entire conference, but I'm certainly not discounting Alabama the rest of the way. I think they got a great chance at winning the SEC West. I think they showed that on Saturday against Ole Miss.
Is Will Levis going to be in the mix anytime soon with the Titans?
Well, they better hope that he is something, because Ryan Tannehill has this season and that's it. He's not going to be the Titans quarterback after this year. And if the Titans offense continues to look like they did on Sunday, which that game was just an offensive – that game was offensive to me to watch as someone who watches the Titans every week. That was an absolute abomination offensively. Jim Schwartz just owned his former team. Jim Schwartz was a defensive assistant behind the scenes for Mike Vrabel the last couple of years. And now that he's the defensive coordinator of the Browns, he owned the Titans in that game and owned Mike Vrabel. That was an awful performance offensively and defensively for the Titans. But offensively, they showed the roadmap for their success in that win over the Chargers. That's what they have to be, a team that runs the ball a lot with Derrick Henry. And when they're not running the ball with Derrick Henry, they're faking the ball to Derrick Henry and then going deep and hitting a couple splash plays throughout the game. That's the best they can be. For Will Levis, right now he's third behind Malik Willis. And I know he had an injury setback in the preseason. That's not a great sign. I sort of jokingly put this poll question out for Titans fans yesterday. Dan and I asked the question, who would be the better 5-year option for the Titans? Malik Willis, who's the current backup, Will Levis, who's third string, or Josh Dobbs, who just beat the Cowboys in year 7, I think it is. The NFL, his first time getting a chance to start after he started the last couple games of the year for the Titans a year ago. And I think at last check, it was 45% Dobbs, 42% Levis, and then Malik Willis was way down the list. So it's not going to be Josh Dobbs, and I know that. And it's half joking when I put that out just to gauge the temperature of the fans. But the Titans need Will Levis to be something really good because they don't have a guy in waiting if he's not the next guy. And then is this season going to get so bad you're going to draft high enough to get one of the top quarterback prospects? I doubt it with this Titans team. So you're kind of left in this purgatory of second-round draft pick as the starter that we don't fully believe in. So this is a year for Will Levis to gain the confidence of the coaches and show them something in his opportunities. And if Ryan Tannehill goes down, we're all going to be watching who's going to be that first quarterback to go in, because if it's Malik Willis and not Will Levis, I don't think that's a great sign for a team that traded up into this high in the second round to draft Levis out of Kentucky.
Where are you at with Colorado football?
I think they got humbled. I kept saying for weeks, I wanted to see how Colorado handled the humbling that was coming their way, because those first 3 weeks, they were shot out of a cannon. The win over TCU, they dominate Nebraska in that second half, of Nebraska team that has no offense. But then they have that adversity moment against Colorado State. They're down 8. It is 1st and 98 yards to go. And Shedeur Sanders goes all the way down the field, gets a 2-point conversion. They go on into overtime and win. But you knew this was coming. Oregon's much better. USC this week is much better. And I think Deion handled it pretty well in his post-game remarks. But, Dan, I've always asked this question. We saw the trash talking that went on from Shiloh Sanders to the Oregon players and the stomping on the duck and all that stuff. Can you fabricate some disrespect every week? Can you make it personal every single week throughout a college football season? Can you just lie about the opponent and act like they did this or did that, the way Shedeur Sanders lied about Matt Rule in Nebraska when he was out there having a prayer before the game and said he was disrespecting them? I don't know if that's sustainable for a program. So we'll see. Look, all the trash talk before the game and everything Colorado said, that actually gave Oregon some fighting words for that game. And Dan Lanning used it, and I give him full credit. I'm really impressed with Lanning coming off of this, with the pep talk and then how he's handled everything after the fact. But the humbling has happened now. I think it's going to continue to happen. I think Deion's right when he says you better get us now, because this is the worst we're going to be, because he is going to build and get better players there. I just really question this approach of it's personal every week, and we're going to fabricate and make something up about what the other team has done or some level of disrespect they've paid us. I don't know if that's fully sustainable for a program long term.
Yeah, I think that goes away. I think you make that up and you go, and then that goes away once you get hit. But I agree with you. At some point, you gotta get rid of all that stuff and coach football, coach basketball. I mean, things can work for a while, but eventually they wear off. Chad, I appreciate you, man. Thanks for coming back on. Sorry about yesterday.
No problem, Dan. Always happy to join you. Always great talking with you, and we'll chat with you on our show coming up pretty soon. Thanks so much.
Yeah, there you go. At the Chad Withrow, give him a follow on Twitter and join Hot Mike every day, 3 to 6, right here on the OutKick Network, which is only going to get bigger and better and bigger and better and bigger and better. Yeah, I got to tell you, all right, I've had enough of Megan Rapinoe. Nah, I've had enough. She played her last game yesterday, and there's all kind of rules on what you can show about Megan Rapinoe. Like, She comes walking in, acting like an idiot. She got her little boom box, and she's playing her walk-up song, so everybody's got to hear, everybody's got to look at her, everybody's got to see her. She's got her shades. She kneels for the anthem, and now she's done playing. But she's the power lesbian. She and Sue Bird. It's historical, not hysterical, although it is hysterical that we give a rat's about the power lesbian, but apparently we do. So the power lesbian couple, her and Sue Bird, will always be around because the media loves the power lesbian. But here's the deal. Megan Rapinoe is a pain in the ass. Megan Rapinoe is completely unlikable. You could not be less likable. And I say good riddance. Now, she's going to tell you she's done all kind of activism. She's going to tell you she's made all kind of great strides, and the championships aren't nearly as important in what she's accomplished, and good for her. I mean, if that's true, good for her. But I will also say that she snatched defeat from the jaws of victory. She had a group of young ladies, young women, that were beloved in this country, that were people that were like, hey, this is somebody young women want to be like, and she made them totally unlikable, completely unlikable, and not just to old white guys. She made them unlikable to everybody. She's just an unlikable human being. And you know what? I guarantee you she is one of the most insecure human beings you will ever find. And that's too bad, too. But you know what? Glad that she's gone. My ear itches. Hope I never hear from her. Adios, muchacha. Oh, my God, that's racist. You said muchacha. I got a couple things for you. I don't like Mark Stoops, the coach at Kentucky. Mark Stoops was an idiot, and he got what he deserved last year when he and his idiot players decided to speak out on social media, acting as if they'd ever done something as a program. And they did it against their own school and the basketball team at Kentucky, which, let's be honest, is one of the true blue bloods, although they are fading into irrelevance. Here's the deal. Mark Stoops, though, maybe made a comeback. Mark Stoops and his Kentucky team take on Florida at home this weekend. It's a noon start. Now, if you know anything about noon starts, and you Indiana basketball fans do, noon starts are dull. Noon starts kill you. You don't have time to get there and drink and get serious about your drinking, and next thing you know, it's a dull crowd. It's a crowd that people are like, hey, this is boring. Well, guess what? Mark Stoops believes in the great people of Kentucky. He believes in their ability historically to drink early and drink often. Let's hear from the coach of the Wildcats.
I have great confidence in the people of Kentucky that can get up very early and pound some beers. Why would you disrespect this great state and the great people of it? You know?
I'm with him. Oh, man. Here's the deal. It was about, 5-6 years ago in Indianapolis. They have this thing called the Champions Classic. ESPN puts it on. It's Kentucky, Michigan State, Duke, and Kansas. It was here in Indy. Kentucky's playing Duke. It was back when Zion Williamson was there at Duke. I'm driving downtown around 10:30 to do my radio show at noon, and I drive through Mass Ave, and the bars are packed. Kentucky fans everywhere. The game isn't until like 8 o'clock. I can't remember. I think Kentucky was the first game, so maybe their game started at 7. Halfway through the Kentucky game, no, their game was second. The game started at 9. Halfway through, for the first and only time, at Gainbridge Fieldhouse here in Indianapolis, they had to shut off alcohol sales because Kentucky fans were so hammered, all they were doing was fighting each other. They were getting their braids beat out. Zion Williamson was kicking the living crap out of them, and they started fighting each other, these no-toothed clowns. Yeah, that's right. I said it. Take a dump in Kentucky. That's the Indiana man coming out in me. It's a joke from our radio show that went very viral. Leave me alone. Anyway, so I am with Mark Stoops. Never underestimate the ability of those crazy peoples to booze it up. They'll booze it like no one's business. They'll booze it some more, And next thing you know, they'll make complete jackasses of themselves, and it'll be glorious. By 1 o'clock, the carnage will be all over Lexington, and Mark Stoops will be proven to be right. Julian Edelman apparently thinks that the 49ers struck, quote, gold in Brock Purdy. Well, you think? Julian Edelman says that you have to be impressed with Brock Purdy. They struck gold. Oil, not gold. Oil. Oil. With the late pick, Mr. Irrelevant, when you watch Brock Purdy play, he processes the game. You never see him double pump or something, double clutch. He knows where he's going with the ball. That's a testament to Kyle Shanahan knowing what he likes as a play caller. What makes Brock comfortable, and also Brock going out and executing. Reason I bring this up is because I started this show by saying I'm tired of players, i.e. Devontae Adams and Justin Fields, blaming coaches, blaming general managers. Well, maybe Josh Fields is right, at least according to Julian Edelman. That's a testament to Kyle Shanahan knowing what he likes as a play caller and what makes Brock comfortable. Interesting statement. You do have to make the quarterback comfortable. I said it about Fields. Confidence is important. But it also points to Brock Purdy maybe being a hell of a lot smarter than Justin Fields. I mean, Brock Purdy, and maybe, just maybe, it points to Kyle Shanahan being a hell of a lot smarter than whoever the offensive coordinator is for the Bears. Because frankly, if you can't process much, then don't give the quarterback much. If you can process a lot, then give the quarterback a lot. I don't know what to tell you. It's kind of simple, is it not? I don't know. The Bears are failing Justin Fields. Justin Fields is failing Justin Fields, and I don't see them getting out of it anytime soon together. The 49ers are thriving with Brock Purdy, and Brock Purdy is thriving with the 49ers, and frankly, I don't see that changing anytime soon. Do you? I don't. I think it's awesome. I think it's going to continue, and I am very, very happy. Before we go to Lou Holtz, a coach, Bill Belichick, actually had the quote of the year. Bill Belichick, next question, we're focused on Miami. He was asked about the Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce romance. And this is what old great one, who's not so great without Tom Brady, had to say.
Can I try one that's not about the Cowboys? Swiftie to Swiftie. Taylor Swift was in attendance to watch Travis Kelce's game with his mom in the box. Seems like they may be the new it couple. Where do you fall on that? Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift, power couple in the NFL.
Well, I would say that Travis Kelce's had a lot of big catches in his career. This would be the biggest.
Nailed it.
Oh,
yep.
Pretty big.
Loving him was red.
All right.
Question.
Hey, who's got a bigger rack, Taylor Swift or Bill Belichick? Oh, I'm looking at Belichick. He's going to need the man's ear. He really does. He needs the man's ear. I mean, let's get serious about this, Bill. I looked at myself the other day in a white T-shirt, and that's when I decided, by the way, I've already made it 2 days in my new and improved diet, but that's a pretty good line from Belichick. You got to give Belichick credit. I'm sure players that played for him, like me and others that played for Bob Knight, will tell you that he is absolutely hilarious. I don't know why I'm fixing that now. I can wait till break. But anyway, long story short, Bill Belichick, pretty funny. Pretty funny. All right. There you go. All right. When we come back, a lot of people are saying, well, why is Ryan Day worried about what an 86-year-old man, Lou Holtz, says? I don't think Ryan Day's worried a bit. Here's what happens with coaches, all right? You win a big game. You win an exciting game. You're as excited as the players. You're excited as the fans. You're relieved. Like you have this incredible sense of empowerment. Like you can do anything and say anything, and sometimes this is the time to get something off your chest. So when you saw Ryan Day all pumped up, losing his mind, he wasn't worried about what happened with Lou Holtz. He was simply pissed, and he was defending his team because his team, according to Lou Holtz, was a finesse team, wasn't tough enough. And look, I'm not so sure Lou Holtz was wrong with what he said. Now, if I'm Ryan Day, I'm pissed. But to say, hey, You're worried about an 86-year-old man. What's the difference? I would worry more about an 86-year-old man that's won a national championship and is well regarded in the NFL than any of these idiots that write anywhere. I mean, wouldn't you? Oh boy, I'm telling you, man. Get a little rack going. All right, when we come back, the great Lou Holtz is. I can't look at that, fellas. I'm sorry, I cannot look at that, Ryan. I don't want to look at that. I'm keeping my eyes up. It was like when I got interviewed. Well, there was a woman. Never mind. I'm not even going to say it because it'll make me a misogynist. It'll make me a real guy. But anyway, Lou Holtz, you're not worried about what he says, but you're pissed. So guess what? You get a press conference, you got a chance for your say. We'll talk to Coach Holtz, see what he thinks about Ryan Day coming at him when we come back.
Hey, looking for the hottest sportsbook offers at OutKick? Find exclusive promotion, expert bets, latest odds. Get in the game at OutKick.com/bet.
I'm here at the Big Machine Music City Grand Prix, but that's not the only big race that's on people's minds. Let's go talk about it.
There's no way Biden can win again. There's just no way. Even the people that voted for him because they didn't like Trump, now at least have to see, like, senile, not all there, probably won't be alive for 4 more years.
Are you a Trump guy? Or are you a DeSantis guy? Or someone else?
I don't like any of them.
Who's your dream candidate? Who would you want to run?
Myself.
I think the best candidates probably are smart enough not to run.
I just hope there's somebody that's young enough to care about the country instead of their politics.
My fear is they get Gavin Newsom from California. I think it would be the new cool vote for the younger people, and that's what I don't like.
Who do you think on the Republican side would be able to take on Gavin Newsom?
Great question. As a Republican registered, I love what Trump's body of work did, but they're just out to get him and destroy him, and we won't get things done, which is crappy for me to say. I thought DeSantis was going to be the guy. Trump only has 4 years left. He cannot fix everything that just happened in 4 years. And he's going to be battling indictments and all these false stuff for the next 4 years. We won't get anything done. And it'll just be the stalemate in America. That's why I almost don't want him in. But if he is the leading candidate, that's who I'm going to vote for.
Is there any Democrat that you would vote for, consider voting for?
Absolutely not.
Yeah. What about RFK Jr.?
No.
Who should our first female president be?
Michelle Obama, of course. Okay. Yeah.
I'm going to go with Harambe 2024.
We have the 2024 presidential race coming up, and I wanted to see who you thought your favorite TV characters would vote for. Homer Simpson, like who do you think he would vote for?
Donald Trump, all the way.
Vito Corleone.
Whoa. Whoever advances the cause of the Corleone family.
Hey, welcome back. We're going to have Coach Lou Holtz coming up here in just a moment as we get him all settled to react to Ryan Day coming at him. I love this kind of stuff. Look, I said this before and I'll say this again. If you win a big game or when you win a big game and you're a coach, you feel bulletproof, man. You feel relief. You feel like you can say anything, and then you want to get back, right? You want to get back at all the people that snubbed you. Players do it, coaches do it, media does it. Like, media's having a field day with Brian Ferentz, right? Brian Ferentz yesterday, or excuse me, a week ago, came out and told everybody to get a ladder and climb out of his you-know-what after they dropped 45 on a bad team. Well, Brian Ferentz's offense at Iowa scored squat against Penn State. So now the media is bringing that back on him. It's just what we do. When you feel bulletproof, you go back at the people that you feel dissed you. Lou Holtz is a Notre Dame guy through and through. Lou Holtz is a guy that wears Notre Dame on his sleeve. I assume that's real. Notre Dame was asked by Pat McAfee, "The hell's going on here? What's going on here?" I don't know. Can we play the video? Do we have the video? But anyway, we weren't anticipating. We're trying to get Coach Holtz on. Apparently, he's in the waiting room, and we're trying to get him back. But the fact of the matter is, he said that Ohio State has lost under Ryan Day, and he named the teams that all were more physical than Ohio State, which is an affront, people, a massive affront to a coach. There is nothing a coach takes more personal. Nothing. Than saying that your team gets beat because you're not tough enough, particularly in football. It's an affront to basketball coaches, but let's be honest. Basketball, the toughness thing is important, very important, but it's also a bit of a fraud now, the way the game is played. Make shots, you're going to win the game most times. Miss shots, you're going to lose the game most times. The Bengals didn't deserve to win, at least how their defense tackled yesterday, but toughness is the thing in football, period. Toughness is the thing with coaches, assistant coaches. Everybody in football wants to and has him or has an ego about toughness, period. And when you question that, coaches get pissed. So Ryan Day came out after the game and went all bat crap crazy on Lou Holtz. And I don't blame him. Just like I don't blame Coach Holtz. You're sitting, I just want you to paint a scenario. You don't even need the video. Paint a scenario. All right? Coach Holtz is sitting there in a Notre Dame jacket. He's got a statue in front of Notre Dame Stadium. Now I'm going to say it again. A statue, a national champion. And it's at Notre Dame. McAfee show, game day. I don't know if you saw the crowd, but massive crowd. What'd you want him to say? Like, what did you want him to say? Well, you know, I coached at Ohio State under Woody, and I'm an Ohio guy, and I think Ohio State's going to play. No. He is going to say something that is going to endear him to the audience with which he is speaking. And if you don't understand that, so people get mad. People get all mad. And then they get mad. Then they get mad at Ryan Day for coming back at him. Well, I'm just going to tell you. I'm just going to tell you. If you're Ryan Day, you're defending your players, one. And I'm telling you this, all these little writers, next time you watch a documentary on anything in sports, look who the biggest slobs are. Watch the Gator Swamp Kings. The only slob in the whole thing is a guy named Pat Dooley. Just a fat, ridiculous, unkept slob who's never done nothing but write about other people. Okay? I would rather answer to Lou Holtz at 86 years old than I would some fat slob named Pat Dooley or Bob Kravitz or Greg Doyle or Stephen Holder. Holtz is one. Holtz has respect of coaches, respect of the sport. The fat slobs in the media have the respect of nobody except the buffet in the media tent. That's it. That's all. So if I'm Ryan Day, yeah, I'm mad. And don't give me that crap about why are you coming at an 86-year-old man. Lou Holtz has more respect in the world of football than any of these fat slobs in the media that write bad stuff about you. Coach Holtz, how are you?
Dan, I'm delighted to be with you. I called Coach Freeman yesterday and apologized because I put him in a bad position. Maybe I don't feel bad about saying it because I believe it. And Notre Dame was a better football team 3 times. Ohio State had 4th and 1, ran the ball, couldn't make it. Other than one long run, they averaged less than 2 yards a carry. But if I was coaching, I would have said it, and I would have went to our team and said, I think you're better. I think you're more physical. I think you're more talented. Coach Dye doesn't believe so. Go prove him wrong and prove me right. But when I say something and yet I can't control the outcome of the game, that's unfair to Coach Freeman.
What did you think? What was your reaction when you saw Coach Day after the game go after you?
Well, that's his choice. I can understand why he did. He doesn't want to talk about Michigan, 0-2. He doesn't want to talk about the big game coming up against Penn State and against Michigan again. He's a great coach. He's done a tremendous job. He's a great offensive mind. He hired an outstanding defensive coordinator from Oklahoma State, I think, and he's doing a tremendous job for him. Ohio State's a good football team. I don't think they're a great football team. And he can go after me all he wants, but I remember when we were playing Miami and there was a big hullabaloo, and sometimes you say things out of emotions. I said in the football team, you show class during this game, and if you don't, you'll never play again. Now, if Miami wants to fight after the game in the parking lot, then that's fine. If they do, you say Jimmy Johnson's asked for me. I didn't mean it, but it came out just like this. I honestly felt that Notre Dame was a better football team and more physical, and I'm sorry that Coach Dave was offended by it. I hope he goes on, has a wonderful year. I don't think they'll be a great football team. I really don't. I felt Notre Dame won the football game. All we had to do was fall on the ball. In the last 2 minutes, Dan, the opposition is not Ohio State. The opposition is the clock. And if we used up their last time out and fell on the ball or just ran at them right away or straight away, which we've been doing very effectively, we got the ball on the 4 and ran it right out to 35 without a third down. And all of a sudden, we get thrown for a loss on a trick play. But they called a beautiful game up until then. But as I said to Coach Freeman, I apologize. He's doing a great job. He's a tremendous coach. He belongs in Notre Dame. But don't let Ohio State beat us last week and beat us this week also, because we're worried about that game and the mistakes we made at the end of the game.
Coach, what was Coach Freeman's reaction when you called him?
Well, Coach Freeman is always a class guy. He's very, very polite. He didn't even make a comment about it, but I wanted him to know that I felt bad, because anytime you put a team at a disadvantage and you can't control the outcome of the game, that's wrong. But, I hadn't done TV for a few years, and I had no idea that it would be that well or that widely received. I really did. I had no idea Coach Mr. McAfee's show is so widely watched. But I made it, and that's it. And, you can't do anything about it. I can't change it. You can't erase it. You close ranks, you pick up the rifle, you march on. That's all you can do.
Coach, you just talked about it, and I remember growing up, and not growing up, I was in college or I was out of college when you made that comment to Jimmy Johnson. I coached for a long time, and I remember at Bowling Green, we beat Michigan, and I'm interviewed after, right? And you feel bulletproof after a big win, right? You got to get everything off your chest. You got, right? You know what I mean? You feel bulletproof.
You're right. But, I never said save Jimmy Johnson's ass for me. But the players did. For 15 years, I never said a word. But the players kept talking about it because they were in the locker room there. But it wasn't something I planned. Jimmy Johnson is one coach that I have great respect for, a tremendous coach and an outstanding person. But, as you know, Dan, you coached at Bowling Green, and things just happen. They just come out here. They got a mic in front of you all the time. And I've said a lot of dumb things. But before we played Miami, I'm in a pep rally, and now it's Friday night before the game. You think the paper's already published. And I said to 25,000 people down there in the basketball court, you go tell Jimmy Johnson that we're going to beat them like a yard dog. Well, the headline Saturday morning was that comment. And so you can't deny it. So I said to the team, you know why I said it? Well, wait, let's look at it. I said it because I believe it. And if I believe it, I want you to believe it. If you believe it, we'll find a way to win. But you got to believe that you can be successful. And so you take a mistake, but you can control because I also controlled the game. I never had second thoughts about having said it. It was probably a dumb thing to do. But as you said, Dan, you get emotional in front of people. You make comments that you wish hadn't said that. And that was when I was
Coach,
sober. And I sober on also.
Hey, Coach. All right, but I'm going to go to your comments. You and what got Dave pissed was that you gave specific examples and said that Ohio State was basically soft and that Ryan Day gets beat by tough teams. Now that's something that I think you as a coach looked at and believe and didn't just say.
No, when you look at his loss, and his record's outstanding. He lost to Alabama. He lost to Georgia. He lost to Clemson. He lost to Michigan twice. And that's about the only games he's ever lost. And I've watched almost every one of those games. And the team that played physical usually won that football game. And I was trying to give Notre Dame a little bit of more confidence too. But it is wrong anytime you say something negative about another team. I shouldn't have said they're soft. I should have said Notre Dame is just a very physical football team. Our offensive line's outstanding. The quarterback is tremendous. And we will control the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. And we did. Hardman was not sacked at all, other than when they ran that trick play at the end of the game. He won't even have to shower after that game. He didn't get in at all. And they did. Whereas on the other hand, we did put some pressure on the quarterback from Ohio State.
Coach, how does it happen, and whose fault do you see it being that you only have 10 players on the field for the last two plays? How's that happen?
Well, crazy things happen. You can't really explain that. I remember we're playing Michigan, and it was come down near the end of the game. We had the ball on our 20-yard line with maybe a minute to go. And we ran a screen pass, and it gained about 3 yards. The only time in my entire career, we had 10 men on the field. And if the guy had been there where he's supposed to be and cracked down, it might have been a 50-yard gain. Everybody said, oh, he's playing for the tie. That wasn't the case at all. But you can't really understand it, but the players have to be involved as well. And before at the pregame meal, okay, well, who's on the punt team? Everybody raise their hand. Jimmy Jones is injured. His substitute raises his hand. Everybody has to know when you're on. When we have personnel 22, who's in there? He's in. But to have it once, but then to have it 2 plays in a row. And then he barely got in the end zone. Barely got in the end zone. They had to do a replay to find out if he scored or not. So that's things you learn and mistakes being made. Dan, you know so well from coaching. There are some things, mistakes, you can correct in a year with recruiting. There's some mistakes you can correct in a season, player personnel, etc. But there's some mistakes you can correct immediately. And that should never happen. How it did happen, I really don't know. But it's just something that scares you to death as a coach. And it's a shame that happened then.
Coach, I was a young coach, and I was at that Michigan game you're talking about. My wife and I went to the Michigan game. This is where I knew coaching was impossible, particularly coaching at Notre Dame. Coach, that was after you won a national championship, right? You had won a national championship in '89, I think. Okay, my wife and I grew up in Gary, Indiana, an hour to the west, and I'd been on Notre Dame's campus. I was showing my wife campus after that game. Coach, you won more games than anybody. You won a national championship, and people were just in the quad going nuts on you. Fire Holtz, he's playing for a tie. We don't play. I'm thinking to myself as a young coach, Holy shit. You can't. What? What are we doing here? It was unbelievable, Coach.
Oh, Dan, I tell you what, that's part of and the point I make is the screen pass, I felt we'd pick up maybe 15, 20 yards, get out there and get more room. And we weren't playing for a tie at all. But I would get nasty letters from somebody, you dumb idiot, etc. And I would take, and I'd just say, whoever wrote it, let's say Jim Jones wrote it, dear Jim, just want you to know that some idiot is writing this type of letter and signing your name. And I know you're smarter than wouldn't believe it. I never heard from him again. But, in coaching, Dan, you were at Bowling Green. Some of my better friends were Bowling Green. Bob Sabo, I played high school football against him, and we're still great friends. He was on the board of trustees there.
Yeah.
And you know how difficult it is to be a coach. And you just have to put other things behind you. You aren't going to be 100% right, but you try to. And when after a game, and I know you probably did this in basketball as well, you've had great success as a coach, you have to sit down and say, how did I help the team? Did I hurt them at all? Your obligation as a coach is to give your players the best chance there is to win. And if you make a stupid mistake, you feel bad about it because you created some problems for the team. Then that wasn't your role. Your role was to help your team, not hurt them.
I always use Bear Bryant. Bear Bryant used to say, they asked him what he did on game day, and he said, I try to figure out ways not to lose and ways to help my team win. And that's exactly what I think you're supposed to do as a coach. Coach, last thing, and I'll let you go. This has been so much fun. Do you think Ohio State is still a soft team after that game?
I don't believe they'll win a national championship, no. And I'm not sure they will beat Penn State and Michigan. I don't think they will. I don't think they're necessarily a soft team. I just felt that the way that Notre Dame could win the game and would win it was by dominating the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. And often Notre Dame ran the ball very, very well. It just one of those things. Let's see how it works out. I promise you this, that I have great respect for Coach Day and the Ohio State team, but they are not a real physical football team. Now, they played pretty well on defense, but you go look at them in all their games. It's all about passes. It's all about one-on-one and things along that line. And the way you beat that team is you just beat them up physically up front. We used to say, one of the first things I wrote on the blackboard in the locker room when I walked in, butt them in the mouth, knock them in the dirt. That was our approach. And we believed in the brush block. I believe in brushing their chest up against their spine. The physical football team will usually win. And you don't have to win the game. You just want to make sure you don't lose it. How do you lose the game? By turnovers. Now, there wasn't a turnover in that football game. That's remarkable. Because I would say the team, do you know how valuable that football is? They even named the game after it. Now, if they named the game after it, tells you take good care of it and protect it. But, and you coach basketball, and I used to get in an argument with Bobby Knight all the time. Bobby Knight was a good friend of mine. He would say to me, basketball was so much harder to coach, Dan, than football. I said, how can you say that? You got 12 players, you got 9 coaches. Whereas football, I got 130 on the team and 9 coaches also. And I said, and he'd argue, no, it's more different. I said, hey, Bobby, if coaching basketball is that difficult, how did Digger Phelps win that many games? And, Digger Phelps was extra coaches in Notre Dame with me, but we used to ride one another all the time. But you mentioned I closed this with Bear Bryant. Bear Bryant said this to me when I was a young head coach at William Mary. He said, Coach, don't worry about making friends and don't worry about making enemies. Worry about winning. He said, if you win, your enemies can't hurt you. And if you lose, your friends can't save you. And that was good advice.
Hey, Coach, I absolutely went the opposite way. Urban Meyer was my neighbor, and we were great friends. He was a football coach. I was a basketball coach. And I used to go over, we used to on Sundays hang out, and if we both had big wins, and it was great. And I was the other way. I go, man, I'm too stupid to coach football. He was running that spread, and he would show me what I go, I got 5 guys, and I can't figure out how to get a 3-point jump shot for him. You guys figured it. I think football coaching is like freaking calculus to me. I can't understand it. I can't. I try. Can't.
You know, Urban Meyer coached for me at Notre Dame. Tremendous coach, tremendous friend, tremendous person. But I love basketball also. I really played basketball. And the great teams in basketball, you correct me if I'm wrong with this, Coach. Great teams in basketball know who the guy you go to at crunch time. The worst teams are the teams that everybody thinks they should have the ball at crunch time. And I said, when I thought Eddie Sutton or Arkansas, I thought Eddie Sutton did a great job with this. We had Moncrief, Brewer, and Dev, and they knew who was to get the ball at crunch time. And basketball is like anything else. You have to execute the fundamentals, but you got to put the ball in the hoop. And I'd love to coach basketball because I'd say, well, they shot 48%, we shot 12. Well, ours were from 40 feet away. Theirs was all layup. And they're, well, that's right. We just had a bad day. It doesn't matter about X's and O's or anything else. But it just anything. And coaching is great. And I miss it because of the relationship with the players. But the thing about coaching, a lot of people can be successful, make money. And that when they die, that ends. In coaching, you have a chance to be significant. And significant is when you help other people be successful. And that lasts many a lifetime.
Okay, Coach, last thing. Can Notre Dame run the table? They good enough to beat a USC. They good enough to beat Duke at Duke this weekend. Can they get it done?
I think we could beat Duke. And, boy, they really impressive against Clemson. But I think we can beat Clemson on the road. I think we can beat Duke. And I think we could beat Southern Cal, but we're going to have to outscore them. But you don't know what's going to happen. You know, the Pac-12 has not had a team in the championship game for a long time. Matter of fact, they aren't even one of the top 4. But I think Washington, Oregon, and Southern Cal are all outstanding teams. And they also all have transfer quarterback. You look at Penix at Washington, he transferred from Indiana, and he was great there. You looked at Oregon, and their quarterback came from Auburn, Bo Nix. You look at Southern Cal, their quarterback came from Oklahoma. But those 3 teams are all absolutely outstanding. The Southern Cal were to lose 1 or 2 times before they come in there, who knows what will happen. We're going to have to outscore them. It looks that way, but it's also a big rivalry. And for big rivalry, you should get up. You should be motivated. And we're playing them at home. And it's time we won a big game at home.
Coach, I miss you, Mark May, and Reese, when you did that freaking judge thing where you would get up there
the final
and
verdict.
you were like,
before the game, I had dinner with Reese Davis, and I still was upset because it was about Ohio State. And that's pointing out why Ohio State could possibly win the national championship. The question was, can Ohio State make the playoff? Mark May, absolutely anti-Ohio State. No, and I'm defending them. Yes, they can. And Reese ruled against me. I flipped over the heavy podium I had there. I was mad. I mean, I always said Hamilton Berger won more contests against Perry Mason than Mark May did against me. But Reese was just trying to even it up. That upset me because you're trying to win that. But, you know, it was fun. We did it for 11 years. We had fun. We did a lot of different things, final verdict being one of them, et cetera. But it was fun. But, you know, there comes a time where you get old. I'm going to be 87 in January. My birthday candles cost more than a cake. And I have a lot of physical ailments as far as walking. But mentally, I'm okay. And one of the advantages, Dan, about being basically a very dull person, when you start losing it, you can't tell because there's not much of a difference.
Hey, I hope when I'm 86 somebody goes off the field in a big game and rips my ass. I hope I'm that I hope I'm that inspirational. I hope I still have that much relevance, Coach. Honest to God. I looked at that and I'm like, man, Lou Holtz was always an idol of mine. Now he's really my idol. At 86, he's still got him fired up. I think it's awesome.
Well, thank you. Congratulations, Lou, on your success as well as the success you're having with your show.
Coach, thanks for coming on. I hope you'll come back.
Well, only if I'm invited.
Well, you're invited. We're going to get invited a lot, so don't get pissed if we bother you, because this is so much fun for me.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Coach. That is awesome. Coach didn't back down. Why would he? No reason to back down. And for Ryan Day, you should be upset about what Lou Holtz said, because Lou Holtz matters, not some slap with a blog or some slap with crumbs all over him as a writer. This is Lou Holtz talking. And look, it's a hell of a game. Notre Dame played well. Notre Dame, as Coach said, there's no turnovers. Ohio State's kid, McCord, got himself a massive win, and then he went and led everybody. That's, to me, what college football is about. And those of you that know college football, I know I coached college basketball for 100 years, but college football has always been my favorite sport, and it will continue to be. And college basketball sucks because we don't have games like that. We got games in Bahamas or Maui or Vegas. We need more games that are at home, like Ohio State, Notre Dame, man. Indiana, Kentucky, playing in Louisville or playing in Indy or playing at Rupp or playing at Assembly Hall. How can you not want that? Jeez, and I love Coach Holtz. Always have. Always have. Never met him, never seen him in person, but I love the man. As I said, I grew up an hour away. The nuns called me in a room when I committed to go play at Indiana. True story. I commit to go play for Bobby Knight. I'm a junior in high school. 3 nuns called me in a room. And I'm like, oh, crap, what did I do? And they said, Mr. Dakich. I said, yes. Why are you not going to Notre Dame? You went to Catholic grade school. You went to Catholic high school. You should be going to Notre Dame. And I said, sister, Coach Phelps doesn't recruit Indiana. He didn't recruit me. They're like, wait a second. Who's Coach Phelps? I said, he's the basketball coach at Notre Dame. They didn't even know the coach, but they were pissed that he didn't recruit me, because Digger did not recruit Indiana players until he got 2 kids, Kenny Barlow and Scotty Hicks from Cathedral High School, which, oh, by the way, looks like Notre Dame, the gold helmets, the whole thing. But these nuns were pissed, and I was a little smart ass, so I had to say something like, hey, you guys don't know who Coach Phelps is? No, but we're calling that office. I said, hey, you do whatever you need to do, but maybe I need to get away from Catholic education. But I can't thank Coach Holtz enough. What a great, great time. That was fantastic. Fantastic. And Coach Holtz didn't back down. I didn't expect him to back down, because Coach Holtz is the man. That's right. We'll be right back. I'm fired up. Yeah, I am. Hey, by the way, let's go to points bets, shall we? Look, $1,000 in free bets. How about that? You can be an idiot. You can screw up, and they're going to get you $1,000, up to $1,000 in free money. That's right. So you bet $50. Guess what? It doesn't go your way. Well, points bets will cover it up to $1,000. That's a pretty good deal. And if you go right now to PointsBets and open up yourself a PointsBet account, new users get up to $1,000 second chance betting. All you got to do is visit OutKick.com/bet. That's OutKick.com/bets, and there it is for you. We'll be right back. I'm having so much fun today, and I got my clothes on, even pants. I have pants on today. Normally don't.
Looking for the hottest sportsbook offers? At OutKick, find exclusive promotions, expert picks, and the latest odds. Get in the game at OutKick.com/bet. Chad, also stupid, Keith Olbermann, and his response whenever Aaron Rodgers went down with the, eventually it was the Achilles, but at the time, everyone's playing doctor on social media, and he retweeted one of the doctors that said it could be a Liz Frank foot injury as well. Olbermann retweeted and posted another hashtag sudden Liz Frank due to failure to vaccinate. Well, Rodgers went on Pat McAfee and responded to Olbermann.
Hey, hold on, there's another guy. What's the guy? Keith Olbermann said that.
You love him, though.
Because you're not vaxxed, that's why it happened.
Yep.
Yeah, get your 5th booster, Keith.
Anyway.
He didn't hold back. And Rodgers is back on with McAfee.
Get your fifth booster, Keith, is terrific. Perfect way to handle that.
I'm sure he has.
Aaron Rodgers said a lot in his hit on McAfee, too. He said, don't expect him to be on the sideline anytime soon with the recovery, but that he's hoping to get up in a booth. And he said he joked that I hope they give me a headset so I can at least give a few plays, call a few plays over the game with what I'm seeing. Seemed to be in relatively good spirits given the circumstances.
If he's on headset.
But a great line about Keith Olbermann, who has just become a complete and total caricature.
Yeah,
and just a loser. I don't.
Yeah.
I just don't understand.
He's playing into it too.
Keith Olbermann was a really good broadcaster and good at what he did on SportsCenter, and now he's become a cartoon, and I don't get it.
Yeah, and then last season, not requiring it. The season prior, you've got Rodgers who was inoculated, and Olbermann was leading the charge against him, and then soon after, the league stopped.
Hey, good for McAfee bringing it up on a network, by the way, that got sued by Sage Steele because she sued them about speaking out against vaccinations.
That's right.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, sometimes you just have a great time. And Coach Holtz, I don't give a damn if he's 86. I'd much rather answer to Coach Holtz than I would any of these little writer guys. Oh, you crazy? I don't give a damn about Greg Doyle. Greg Doyle thinks that. Oh, shut up. Little crumbs. Pat Dooley. I'm watching Swamp Kings, and everybody on Swamp Kings looked presentable except who? The writer guy. Looked like a freaking slob. And yet these guys are commenting, look, I don't blame Ryan Day one bit. Ryan Day did exactly what I would have done. Absolutely no question about it. Ryan Day going at Lou Holtz, you got to. That's what we do. Look, when you win a big game, you go crazy. You go nuts. You're bulletproof. You are. Sorry. All right, speaking of coaches, I'm going to go with my top 5 for Tuesday. Top 5, in my opinion, worst coaches in the NFL. Number 5, ladies and gentlemen, Sean Payton. No one's got more mileage out of being a scab in the NFL, which Sean Payton was coming out of Eastern Illinois. There was a strike, and he ended up crossing the picket line and becoming a coach. Nobody's done more than him in terms of that vein. But Sean Payton won a Super Bowl. Sean Payton had Drew Brees. Went to 1 Super Bowl with Drew Brees. That's it. He won because a lot of reasons. Peyton Manning yacked it up in the big game. Tracy Porter with an interception. IU guy went to the house, as we say in football parlance. But Sean Payton got fired with the Saints for a reason. Didn't win enough. He didn't. Nice record, good for him, but didn't win enough. Then all of a sudden he goes to Fox, and he was okay as a TV commentator. I think he was good. I liked listening to him. He was okay. Those guys are impossible because they put you on a set and you got 20 guys up there and you're like, hey, so who knows if anyone's any good? But then the great one has a sweepstakes and he chooses the Denver Broncos because he, a former quarterback, thinks he could resurrect Russell Wilson. Fine. He does what coaches should do. He calls out Russell Wilson. Stop being the mayor. Stop kissing babies. Do yourself a favor. Get in the weight room. Get in the workout room. Get in the film room. Let's be a quarterback. And then he takes a shot at Nathaniel Hackett. Worst coaching job ever. Everybody was involved. Well, he's done a far worse coaching job, Sean Payton has. When you lose 70-20, you should really be the worst coach currently in the NFL. But the current state of coaching is so bad in the NFL that he only goes to number 5, and only because he did have some success earlier. Ron Rivera, on the other hand, has never really had success. Ron Rivera is the most woke coach. Nobody, and I mean nobody in the NFL, decided this. He decided, hey, look, here's the deal. I want to be woke. If you say anything that seems out of line, guess what? We're going to get mad at you. See Jack Del Rio. But Ron Rivera, really, I liked Ron Rivera. Let me go back to this. I'm a Chicago Bears fan growing up. And Ron Rivera was drafted by the Bears. He was a really good football player. He was. You know what? he was a member of the '84 Bears. He was a guy that I had a lot of respect for. He played 8-9 years with the Chicago Bears, was always a backup to Singletary, but was very good. He was a Super Bowl champ. I liked him. I did. He's 52%, which is a great number. That's what I was as a head coach. Fine. But Ron Rivera, to me, hasn't shown the ability to win anything. Ron Rivera, to me, hasn't shown the ability, even though he's gotten numerous jobs, to make teams and organizations better. Now, is he awful? No. Is he any good? No. He's just a guy. They call him Jags in this world. Just a guy. 6-10, his high water mark was in 2013 when he lost in a divisional game and went 12-4. I lied. He went 15-1 and took him to the Super Bowl, Carolina, and it's been all downhill from there. Good for Ron Rivera. Brandon Staley could be number one on any list, but the two ahead of him are so bad. Brandon Staley looks like a little kid trying to coach football. He's the coach of the Los Angeles Chargers. Look, I don't like lists like this, except NFL coaches are starting to piss me off. Brandon Staley made the dumbest decision he could possibly make because he's an analytics guy. He's like Joe Biden being led around by Obama. This guy here is being led around by analytics, so he goes for it on his own 21 late in the game against the Vikings. It works out for him because Kirk Cousins throws the ball to the other team later, but that's a dumb move. And Brandon Staley got away with it. So good for Brandon Staley. Number 2 is Mr. Mensa. Mr. Mensa, Frank Reich. Now, Frank Reich hasn't won a game since I weighed 210 pounds. He's awful. He's a nice guy. He's a very nice guy. If you want a grandfather, Frank Reich is your grandfather. The biggest myth about Frank Reich is that he's some type of quarterback guru. He had 5 different quarterbacks in Indianapolis, and he never made any of them better. The only guy he had even a little bit of success was Phillip Rivers. But you're not teaching Phillip Rivers at 627 years old how to be a better quarterback. You're plugging him in and hoping he does well. He never made Jacoby Brissett better. He never, ever one time made Carson Wentz better, whether it was in Philadelphia or whether it was in Indianapolis. He literally didn't help anybody as a quarterback guru. He talks about being Mensa. He talks about being smart. He talks about climbing mountains. What he does is he talks. He's off to a god-awful start in Carolina, but I could have told you this. In fact, I did tell you this. The only thing that I disagreed with in the Frank Reich era was them, the Colts, Jimmy Irsay, getting rid of Reich and replacing him with Jeff Saturday. I didn't care about getting rid of Reich. I cared about replacing him with Jeff Saturday. That was historically stupid. Carolina took the bait. Jay Glazer of Fox argued with me on Twitter. He's an elite coach. Frank Reich is anything but elite. I'll be surprised if he makes it through the year. Carolina is really stupid, but no dumber than the Chicago Bears. The Chicago Bears, for some reason, decided out of all the candidates to be a coach in the NFL, they were going to get Matt Eberflus. Matt Eberflus is so against what Chicago is about. Matt Eberflus is a figment of PR imagination. You saw it earlier. Matt Eberflus bought pizzas for the media. That's reminiscent, and he learned that from our general manager here in Indianapolis, Chris Ballard, who famously serves nachos at a film-watching get-together with the media so the media could watch highlights of Quiddy Pay. That's Indianapolis. That's also Chicago. Chicago's a city of broad shoulders. Chicago's supposed to be tough. Ditka, Peyton, you know what I'm talking about. Bookish, Singletary, Urlacher, you know what I'm saying. Are these guys tough? Oh, hell no. These guys are as soft as my ass. And by the way, Lee was given a little feel last night and couldn't believe how a 61-year-old man's ass was that soft. True story. But anyway, this guy's a figment of the imagination who comes there completely unqualified. You're supposed to have success as an assistant before you can be a head coach, or at least every assistant. But what the NFL does is they tier assistants. This group here is the next guy. I have no doubt in my mind that this guy Eberflus interviewed well. I also have no doubt in my mind, going back to how he is anti-Chicago, that his stare and stun high school defense designed to make you run 16 plays, then kick a field goal, or we're going to get a turnover, is anti-Chicago. There's no 46 defense. There's no Buddy Ryan. There's no toughness. There's no aggressiveness. And you get what you deserve, Chicago. I told Waddle and Sylvie, you're hiring a fraud. Nobody wants to listen to Double D. Everybody should listen to Double D. I should run the world. I should run everything. If something is to be ran, I should run it. Did you happen to notice how even the Colts defense got at least a little more interesting? No, I'll say it, a lot more interesting. That's right, when this guy left. Chicago, he's your problem now. Just like I told you when Chuck Pagano went there as a defensive coordinator. Total fraud. This guy, total fraud. Do not at me. I don't want to hear it. Fred Haviland says Sonny Bono was a better skier than Matt Eberflus is as a coach. I can't believe I read that out loud. Dan, owners don't want tough. They get scared with the alpha types. That's exactly why Ryan Grigson, with all his success, is not an NFL GM yet. That's coming. It is. Don't at me about it, people. Don't at me. All right. Those are my 5. Argue amongst yourself. Is there anybody worse? I don't think so. I do not think so. Just saying. All right. Joe Biden is in the headlines. Joe Biden is currently sending bazillions of dollars to the Ukraine. Now, I like the guy that we had, Jimenez, on our show, but I think Representative Jimenez doth, well, not tell us the whole truth. It's just come out. Joe Biden is bankrolling, listen to this, the Ukraine's 57,000 first responders. He's funding fashion stores, schools. What are we doing in a $10 billion aid package? What does that have to do with the Army? This is what we should all be mad about. Not that the money is given there, but where's money going? Tommy Tuberville came on here, and listen to this. This is where people are morons. What's the right word? His blocking generals from getting promotion was what was talked about. What wasn't talked about is how they tried to put the pork in there on abortion. Hey, Joe Biden, if you want to fund the war, that's your prerogative. But why are we funding and paying 57,000 first responders? Why are we funding stores, schools, and farms? You people voted for this. I don't understand it. I'll never understand it. Crooked Bob Mendez, he who had his wife, he's a senator. Bob Mendez is saying, I am not resigning. Democrats don't have to resign, even though it could not be clear that old Bob Mendez took, among other things, gold bars. That's right, gold bars as bribes. He ain't resigning. You shouldn't resign. I hearken. Yes, sometimes I do hearken. Back to when I told Calvin Sampson in his basement before we played Wisconsin, you shouldn't resign. Once you resign, it's over. It's done. It's over. You got no say in the matter anymore. You've resigned. You're in disgrace. No reason to resign unless it's going to cost you money. If it's going to cost you money, then away we go. Hey, did you see this? There's a new poll out. More Americans are concerned with Joe Biden's age than Trump's legal battles, as a new poll shows. Nearly 3 in 1 American think that Joe Biden is too freaking old, and they care more about that and his cognitive decline. His cognitive decline is so obvious to everybody. I'm assuming we have that poll that we're going to show. But Joe Biden is a moron. Joe Biden doesn't know where he is. Joe Biden has no idea. But polls are coming out that Joe Biden is down as much as 21% in some polls against Donald Trump, even though Donald Trump is facing like 90 charges on 4 indictments. ABC News was so disgusted by their own polling that they pulled the poll off of the news. That's how in pocket these clowns are. It's amazing to me. How popular is Joe Biden? I don't know. About as popular as herpes, VD, COVID, genital warts, and he should be. 51 to 42. That's what ABC is saying. His approval rating is 19 points underwater. What words come out when you think of Donald Trump and Joe Biden? Old, outdated, aging, and elderly. 26 to 1. How about that? All you got to do is fumbling, bumbling, stumbling, lying. How do you not? Yeah, look, Donald Trump may be a crook, but he ain't stealing our money. He's stealing other corporations' money, and frankly, I got no problem with that. Biden and his people can sell Bidenomics all you want, but all we got to do is go to the gas station, go to the grocery store, check out your 401k. Bidenomics suck. That's like saying I'm handsome. No, really, I'm handsome. No, I'm not. No, I'm the most handsome man at the Dakich family reunion. Yeah, here you go. Here's more. Look at my boys here. They're on it. I knew they would be. Overall, Donald Trump should beat the living crap out of Joe Biden. Everybody should. Now, the one thing we got to look out for is, look, I'm not even shilling for Trump. I don't care who it is. But the country cannot go in this same direction. And if you're not smart enough to understand that, I'm not talking to you. Because nobody's going to change your mind. Even polls, even reading, even going to the store. Folks hate Trump so much. Well, good. Don't vote for him. Vote for anybody but. It's like that Brewster's Million. None of the above. Don't vote for this same direction. If LeBron James and these other idiots tell you to go vote, do it. But don't vote for these guys. Are you insane? Haven't you watched what's happening at the border? Haven't you gone to the grocery store? Haven't you done anything? Jeez. Look, I get it. There are still some idiots that are going to be on here that are going to vote for this idiot and this direction. And that's great. But my God, I don't know what to tell you. If you do, then you're not paying attention. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Boy, there's a lot of stuff today, and I am not even mad about it. I'm not. All right, ladies and gentlemen. It's time. Oh, by the way, Bryson DeChambeau is mad that he didn't get a call to play on the Ryder Cup. Yeah? All right. It would have been nice to at least give a call. There's numerous people that I think it would have been nice for them to consider us live guys because we're pretty damn good out here. Yeah, okay. Wyndham Clark calls out Rory McIlroy. Ryder Cups this weekend. I'd like to think I'm better than him, and I want to prove that. I would love to play Rory. I'd like that chance, regardless of who I play. I'm really excited, but that would be a lot of fun. I don't know if that's calling out Rory McIlroy. That's just saying, hey, look, it's the Ryder Cup. We got crazy Serbs. We got Englishmen. We got the Irish. We got the Scottish. We got the Portuguese. We got everybody rooting against us. In Italy. I'm down with it. In fact, man, I hope it rains. I hope it rains all weekend because I don't want to do nothing but watch sports all freaking weekend. All right, ladies and gentlemen, what a great show we've had today. Let's go. Let's woke-a-dope it. What's going on? Yeah, all right. Oh, I love woke-a-dope. I do. I don't know who that guy in the middle is, but I sure like it. Let's go. What's number one? When you vote Democrat and refuse to look at what's happening. I'm just voting Democrat. Now I'm not looking. Gas prices around here at the same station that I've went to when Biden, Trump, I think that's it. I've only been living out here about 5-6 years. When Trump was in office, they were $1.79, $3.85 yesterday. Thanks, Joe Biden. Egg prices, booze prices, zero sugar A&W prices, you name it. It's all through the roof. I swear to you, go back if you're a student of history and look at what happened when Jimmy Carter was the president in the late 70s. Complete, utter chaos. The only thing we haven't gotten yet is an Ayatollah in there taking hostages. The other thing we haven't gotten yet is gas lines. Gas lines were all the rage the last time the economy was this bad. We have idiots running this. We have people that, for whatever the reason, dislike America. But I get it. A lot of you on here are still going to defend, and that's good. That's great. America needs idiots too. What's next? In weather news, the Biden regime indicted Donald Trump for starting hurricanes that are ravaging the United States. Yeah, right. Or global warming is responsible. Global warming is responsible for everything. There's a great George Carlin bit where he talks about, the Earth has been here like 4.5 billion years. We've only had major industry for 100 or 200 years, and yet the world is collapsing. The world ain't collapsing. We have idiots. We have people making money. And by the way, if you want to see something funny, I didn't get it to the guys. I actually saw it during the show. If you want to see something funny, check out John Kerry's new face. Isn't he the global warming guy that flies around in a private plane? John Kerry's face, he's reminiscent of all the great faces. Madonna's face. Oh my God, have you seen Madonna's face lately? I was a little disappointed in Carrie Underwood. She apparently had major work done on her lips, although Carrie Underwood, I could look past it. All the great faces, the made-up faces, the crazy faces. Lisa Rinna with the big lips. Oh, man. Don't do it. Jerry Jones when he got his face pulled back. But John Kerry and his made-up global warming, awesome. He got a new face, and it ain't good. No, it ain't good. What's next? Boy, I say, boy, you got more loose screws in a hardware store than Hurricane. Man, my man, well, your man, not my man. The man, I guess, the big guy, can't stop calling African Americans boy. He just can't do it. I don't understand it. I don't understand why now our racist media has no opinion on that. The other day, man, racist in chief called LL Cool J boy. LL Cool J being called boy. Like, what are we doing? I'll say, that boy, it's 2013, and we're calling African Americans boy as the president of the United States? How many times has that guy screwed it up? How many times has that guy said the N-word in his life? He's already on tape saying it a few times when he was a congressman. Biden also called a black congressman named Cedric Richmond boy. He also called Governor Wes Moore of Maryland boy. What is wrong? Vernon Jones, who's a good follow on Twitter, I'd like to get Vernon on, loves calling adult black men boys. Saturday night, white supremacist Old Joel called LL Cool J a boy in a room full of black people. February 23, Biden called a black governor of Maryland a boy. He called a black congressman and staffer, Cedric Richmond, a boy. Have we heard anything from Roland Martin? Have we heard anything from the great Al Sharpton, any of the great race baiters of our time? Where are they? Why are they so in pocket with this serial racist? I'll tell you why. I'll tell you exactly why. Because, well, they're all making money. John Kerry, what'd you do to your face? That's actually a good picture of John Kerry's face. That's not as bad as the one that I saw. But why are we still getting our face did? Hey, look, can you do anything with my face? Yeah. How about we pull it back here, a little Botox here, we nip, we bud. Look at that face. I've always liked John Kerry's hair. He wears it like a 70s teen idol. Just move that part a little bit in the middle and you got a crazy person. Remember this. Name me one person over 30 years old that has a middle part that isn't crazy. They're all crazy. Charlie Sheen, middle part. That guy, the North Korean guy, middle part. They're all crazy. Move that part over, John Kerry, so we can truly, truly, truly make fun of you. What a great show today. Lou Holtz was awesome. He was absolutely awesome. and I had a blast talking to him. Hopefully it rains. Let me tell you a secret. My boat is locked on our dock. I got first world problems, people. The boat won't come off the dock. There's a lot of boats out here because the lake is so low, it gets locked on your dock. Not happy about it. All right. Thanks to everybody, Nick and Dylan and Ryan, Haley, Katie, Beth the Booker. Beth the Booker, that's just a great name. Brooke, I heard you in audio earlier today. If I haven't mentioned your name before, I'm sorry. And all you clowns on the YouTube chat, thanks for being here every day. We got an unbelievable YouTube audience. The YouTube audience just kicks ass every single day. Let me read a few. Hold on. Dan, finally getting at why I despise Biden. Right. Hey, Dan, I thought Biden grew up in the black church. Was it the Hispanic church? The black church? Did he grow up in Mexico or Puerto Rico? I don't know. I think he's Serbian. I do. I think he's Serbian. Thank you, Linda SD. I really, really, really appreciate it. Hey, Dan, where's Corn Pop these days? Well, true story. True story. I was the only white guy at the pool, and a guy named Corn Pop was a bad dude, and he liked me. What? What? Scott Walters, Ridger, Dave Raynard, Lick, Linda SD, King Nuts, All Rounder Entertainment, Andy Hughes, Jim Eagle, Kevin Wolf, Coco, Rule Miller, Uncouth, Jules Winfield. Thank you so much. Joe to the Sea. Who else we got on here? Jim Eagle, Kent JPG Rules, John Buzzard. If I missed you, I'm sorry. Lick, Greg Matthews. Anyway, 24-inch nails, Jeff Novotny, Fred Hevelin. Thank you. Have a great afternoon, everybody.